What's up? We're back with another hair video. This is also the first time I've ever had an intro. Let's get into it. Oils, butters, and creams are not the end-all, be-all of hair care. But my hair and scalp feels dry without them. Yeah, well, it's going to. You just felt what your naked hair feels like for the first time without them. Hair is not supposed to feel that greasy naturally. Yeah, that's not a moisturized feeling, that's grease. Usually happens when you overuse them and then you don't wash them out properly, which is what the majority of naturals are doing because they're not using shampoos that are strong enough. We've been through this. Oils, butters, and creams are not the products that you should be running to for hair growth, moisture, length retention, or curl definition. If you want your hair to grow, you need genetics. If you want moisture, you need to wash your hair and stop using the products that dehydrate your hair, because moisture is the prolonged presence of hydration, which comes from water. Water can't go anywhere if your hair is hydrophobic, which is kind of a scarier way of saying waterproof in a sense. If you want length retention, you need all of that plus regular haircuts to keep your split ends from breaking off all of the length that you just grew. And spoiler alert, regular haircuts also help with detangling issues. You know that bunch of hair you get at the end of your hair strand that just never stays detangled no matter how much you try? Yeah, the only way to fix that is to cut those off, but I promise you, it'll grow back in 3 months, don't worry about it. Depending on how much you cut, hair grows faster than you cut it. But that also depends on everybody's genetics because growth rate is one of those things that's determined by your genetics. And if you want curl definition, you need both genetics and water. And I mean water as in on your hair, not just drinking it. Doesn't mean that you have to leave your hair soaking wet, but your hair needs to be absorbing water, through here. Just like how your skin is not going to stop being dry if it never gets water. You can drink as much water as you want, but that water has to travel through a whole lot of systems in your body before it gets to the outside. It would be a whole lot faster to just soak your arm or your hand or whatever in some water. Your hair is the same way. Unlearn the urge to validate your hair's length only when it is stretched out. Other people's insecurities are not your problem to solve. This is probably on a script for a whole other video about hair, but I'm gonna say it here anyway. The length that your hair is at in its natural state, when it's dry, is your hair's true length. Your hair's stretched length is not your hair's actual length, because your hair doesn't grow out of your head stretched. This is my hair's natural length as of right now. It is getting longer, it is growing, but where it is right now, this is my hair's natural length. I have no idea where my hair will stop when I pull it because I haven't stretched it since it started growing. Why? Because I have no interest in where it stops when I stretch it, because that's not an accurate representation of my hair. It doesn't stop here or here or here or wherever. If my hair were meant to stop there, that's exactly where it would be, but it would also mean that I wouldn't have such a tight curl pattern. To call shrinkage missed length is to be unwilling to accept that your hair is curly. Shrinkage is a sign of healthy curly hair. It is not a sign that your hair is missing something. Where your hair naturally lives is where your hair naturally lives. Point blank period. Black hair isn't that hard to take care of. You're just getting hair care advice from people who also don't have education in black hair. In other words, you're not getting them from licensed cosmetologists who actually specialize in black hair. And yes, they exist. They're the whole reason that I have taken my wash day from an actual day to about 2.5 hours including dry time. Oh, and by the way, that's from start to finish. That's not just the washing part in the shower. That's washing, all of the rinsing in between, conditioning, detangling, applying my styling products, actually styling my hair so it gets in these little clumps like this, and then sitting under the dryer and then drying my roots because I have high density hair so they're not going to dry on their own even under the dryer. Drying with a handheld dryer. All of that. Oh, and I also showered while I was in the shower because I never just go in just to wash my hair. I'm also washing the rest of me. So all of that is about 2.5 hours, give or take. It's less when I have a fresh cut because then my ends aren't giving me problems. Are there still some issues that I struggle with my hair? Yeah, most of that is due to length and not just because I have black hair. But in a couple of years, when my hair gets to a certain length, all of those issues are going to disappear. So it was never my hair that was the problem, it was me and what I was doing to it. And I only learned that when I stopped listening to people who also didn't know what they were doing. I know the natural hair community has successfully convinced a lot of y'all that they are the authority on hair and you shouldn't be listening to anybody else. But how successful are you actually being with your hair care routine? Your wash days are still literal days. You have to plan in advance when you're gonna wash your hair. You also have to plan how you're gonna take care of your hair on vacation instead of being able to just wash and style it like normal. And then you end up just putting your hair in protective styles or in wigs to not have to deal with your hair. I feel like the natural hair community missed a couple of steps. It is okay to pay a professional to teach you about your hair. There's a professional for everything. There's professionals that take care of cars. There's professionals that teach people how to cook. There's professionals that teach people how to draw. There's professionals that you can go to find out what products you need for your skin. I'm not sure what the hesitance is with, well, I do know what the hesitance is, but like what I'm trying to get across to y'all is there are licensed cosmetologists, there are licensed black hair professionals that know what they're doing. And they're not playing in people's heads and rubbing fruit on their edges in their scalp. They're just using good old-fashioned shampoo and conditioner. They're using styling gel. People's curls are flourishing. They're getting hours back. They're getting their Sundays back. They can wash their hair in the morning for an event they have at night and be confident that their hair is going to turn out well. Sometimes there's just people out there who know more about our hair than we do. A lot of people will tell you that nobody knows you or things about you better than you know yourself, but I do beg to differ sometimes. Like for instance, I'm autistic, right? So I would not trust a neurotypical person to know more about autism than I do. But if I went to a doctor who was also autistic, I would be way more likely to trust their expertise. In the same way, I would not trust somebody who also doesn't know what they're doing when it comes to black hair. But if that person is a licensed cosmetologist that specializes in curly hair and doesn't repeat all of that rhetoric created by the people who don't know what they're doing, I shouldn't have as much of a hard time listening to them. If we can let estheticians and dermatologists know more about our skin, we can let licensed cosmetologists know more about our hair. Just like I just mentioned, in every industry, there will be people who don't know what they're talking about when it comes to us, but that doesn't mean that nobody exists who does. There are people in Ulta and Sephora who look like me and can't shade match me to save their lives. Does that negate the existence of Pat McGrath and Danessa Myricks? No. Hell, even Rihanna could shade match me, and technically she did because all of my foundations are from her. You don't need to DIY anything for your hair to ensure its quality. It might actually be lower quality that way. Did it get darker? It got a little bit darker. I'm so sorry. Actually, why am I apologizing for the sky? Y'all got us creators messed up. Hold on. So have you noticed that a lot of hair care brands that started in the kitchen became bigger household names, and then you look at the ingredients list on the back and it's got all of the things that you would expect to see like ingredients wise on the back of a shampoo bottle? And there's a reason for that. People like to make a big deal about like preservatives and stuff like that, and that's purely because they don't actually know how those products work. Me personally, I don't want my shampoo to expire or spoil 2 weeks after I made it. That's what preservatives are for. They preserve your product. That's why you notice on the back there's a little like jar. It looks like a skincare jar with a lid open that has like a number and then the letter M. That's how many months your product will last. I've got shampoo bottles in there that I finish out way faster than 12 months, which is the shelf life for most of them, but I would be out a lot of money if I was making everything myself and it was spoiling before I could use it. Not to mention, because I'm not a cosmetic chemist, I don't actually know what combination of ingredients will affect a shelf life, so I don't even know how much of a shelf life my products could have. I could also be adding ingredients that cancel each other out, so I'm not even getting the benefits that I think that I'm getting. I don't know. Why? Because I'm not a cosmetic chemist, so why don't I just leave the formulations of shampoos, conditioners, and everything else to the people who do? Again, it's okay to pay a professional to teach you about your hair. This is also the reason why I know that sulfates are not the end of the world. I personally still don't wash my hair with sulfates, but that's mainly because I don't feel like I need to, because my lifestyle does not cause my hair to get so dirty that I need an ingredient so strong to wash my hair. But if push came to shove, like if I traveled and I forgot my shampoo and my conditioner at home and I had to go and buy something and the only thing that was available was something that was that had sulfates in it, I would not be scared because I know how to use that shampoo. Because I listen to the people who know what they're talking about. Professionals know these things. Licensed stylists and cosmetologists know these things. People paint them out to be people that just like play in your hair all day. But like, you have to know like chemistry and biology and all of that before you can even pass the license. Like, you have to get certified by a state board in order to practice as a licensed cosmetologist. I promise you they know how to read an ingredient list. Now, I do fully agree, and I will always be the first one to say this. I will never hesitate to say this. There are certain stores that you walk into and their hair care product shelves are just full of products that you should not get near with a 10-foot pole. But like I just said, just because there's people in Ulta and Sephora that can't shade match me, but that doesn't mean that Pat McGrath and Danessa Myricks wouldn't be able to. Just because there's a million products on the shelves that shouldn't go in your hair doesn't mean that there aren't products that are good and well formulated for your hair. The scientists, les chemistes, know what they're doing in order to make a product high quality. You don't have to be scared of chemistry, you don't have to be scared of science, and you don't have to be scared of chemicals. By the way, you are a chemical. And finally, those products are not actually moisturizing your hair, and they're just making it feel that way. The only thing that can moisturize your hair is water. Like I said earlier in the video, moisture is the prolonged presence of hydration, which comes from water. That means moisture also comes from water. All of those products that get marketed to the natural hair community that they'll moisturize your hair, oils, butters, creams, leave-in conditioners, all of those, all they do is coat your hair. So what you're actually feeling is not your hair's new moisturized state of being. It's just the presence of those products on your hair. That's also the reason why when you finally wash your hair with shampoo strong enough to get them off, you feel your hair underneath and it feels like dry and kind of like straw and kind of terrifying. Yeah, that's how your hair actually feels. But have no fear, because that's not permanent. That's just what those oils, butters, creams, and leave-ins did to your hair. Hair is naturally soft, even if it's even if it's a coarse texture. I really hope you didn't see that, oh my god. Even if it's a coarse texture, and even if you have really thick, like high density hair like mine. My hair is not coarse, but it is high density. And even if you have the tightest curls possible, hair is still naturally soft, because that's just a characteristic that hair has. So if it's not soft, it's because of something that's being done to the hair. And in the natural hair community, at least, it's likely because of the oils, butters, and creams that were marketed to us in the name of promoting moisture and softness and all of that. So now you may be wondering, why would they continue to promote these things if it's giving us the exact opposite results? Well, why would they stop selling you something that's going to keep you coming back for more? Because they know that when you wash all of that stuff out of your hair is going to get that feeling, and then you're going to go running back for more. So that was the extent of the script for this video. So I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye!